The world of roguelikes is vast and varying, and it is my job to review it. Hello everyone, I am the roguelike reviewer, and today we will be reviewing The Binding of Isaac, a twin-stick action roguelike where you cry your way to victory against a wide variety of monsters and demons. Being the very first roguelike I have played, it sure left an impression on me, which blossomed into a love for the genre. But how did it do it? The characters? The art style? The insane amount of unlocks and challenges? Well, let's dive in and find out. Starting out like normal with gameplay. You play as Isaac, who's seeking refuge in his basement after his mom aims to kill him. Armed with nothing but your own tears, you must fight through hordes of disgusting monsters and bosses, searching through many floors, which generate a lot like the original Legend of Zelda's dungeons, for items and trinkets to become stronger and delve deeper and deeper down. The controls are very simple as well, as it's pretty much just moving and shooting, making it a pretty easy game to get into in all honesty, as you don't really need to learn any super complex mechanics. That's not to say that they don't exist, but many of these mechanics are from unlockable characters or from specific items which you need to find first. Many of these mechanics were even added after the first release, which was on Flash, believe it or not, back in 2011. As such, being on Flash likely restricted how complex the game could be originally. After it was ported over to Steam and on consoles, the game got multiple expansions, which added more and more content, resulting in the game we have now, which is honestly extremely massive. Each update added more floors, bosses, items, characters, many of which having vastly different ways to play, especially in Repentance. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What are some of the more interesting mechanics? At the end of floors, if you don't happen to take any red heart damage, you can obtain Angel and Devil rooms with unique, strong item pools. I really like this, as it rewards you for playing well, or strategizing well. As I stated, you only lose your chance upon taking red heart damage. The other heart types act as a shield, these being the soul and black hearts, with black hearts even having a bonus damaging effect when you lose them. Each floor also contains secret rooms, which follow specific rules when spawning in, allowing you to use some detective work to find them. Your normal secret rooms will always spawn next to 2 or more rooms, typically being adjacent to as many rooms as possible, while super secret rooms will only be next to a single room. They both also have a couple other spawning requirements, such as no entrances being blocked by things like rocks, or spawning next to the boss room. This rewards players who are able to learn and use this knowledge to strengthen themselves during runs, which I love. And if you ever get bored of these normal runs, there's even an alternative game mode, and tons of challenges to take on. The alternate mode has you fighting waves of enemies and bosses, earning money for items and consumables, and making your way to this mode's exclusive boss, Ultra Greed. With the challenges, they typically throw in specific twists on your normal runs, which will either increase difficulty or offer a unique run through the game. Some of the more interesting ones being back assward, where you do a run starting at a final boss, working your way back, losing the items that you, air quotes, obtained from each floor, or Pika run, where you get 0 items and have to rely solely on trinkets you pick up and their effects to succeed. Every challenge will also unlock something for you to use in future runs, incentivizing at least trying them out, especially if you want everything. The gameplay can be very addicting for sure, but I do think other games do it a little bit better. Enter the Gungeon and Wizard of Legend being prime examples for me. While they certainly don't contain as much content, I prefer the additional movement mechanics they add, with the dodge roll and dash respectively. The dodge roll just makes dodging feel much more active, and with invincibility frames, I also feel allows for more ways to use your knowledge of enemies' attacks more efficiently. And for the dash, it just makes the game feel overall faster, which I have grown to enjoy more in my roguelikes. Not to say Isaac doesn't have intense moments, especially with the harder bosses, and some of the items even giving you the ability to do stuff like this. I find that I just generally prefer the option as a base kit ability. Like I was saying though, this game has a massive amount of content, and that can't be understated. With there being 717 items total and 188 trinkets, man, that's absurd. Once everything is unlocked, no two runs will ever feel the same. That's just gotta be one of the benefits of being updated relatively consistently for a decade, I suppose. Pretty big chunk of these are just stat increasing items, not that this is a terrible thing, especially if you know how to maximize your stats. However, I understand that it feels a lot better to have something super flashy. Luckily, we have that covered as well. I mean, come on. With over 700 items, of course you're gonna have some cool stuff in there. Like, how about instead of shooting tears, we shoot some lasers? Items such as tech and brimstone give that to you. What if we wanted to smite our foes? With Holy Light, you have a chance to blast your foes with a beam of light from the sky. You can even replace your shots with bombs using Dr. Fetus, so you'll never need bombs again. Oh, but do be careful not to blow yourself up in the process. The game is also chock full of pop culture references, such as mini mushrooms from the Mario series, TNT and the pickaxe from Minecraft, and several Magic the Gathering cards, to name a few. Alone, these are all cool, but combined with other items, there's some really cool synergies, which is easily my favorite part of any roguelike. I haven't gotten a super good chance to talk about this in my previous reviews, but I find creating powerful combos to be infinitely more satisfying than just being powerful. And I'm the same way in RPGs like D&D, where I look for unique combos of items or abilities that alone are cool, but together they thrive, even if it doesn't necessarily always work out. Anyway, I'm getting a little off topic. This game rewards you a lot for trying combinations of items, as there are very few exceptions of items that straight up don't work together. Which is good, because a lot of these effects change your tiers into something completely different, such as the previously stated brimstone and technology. They actually combine forces to create a stronger laser, instead of just replacing each other. Some of these synergies can even be a little more unintuitive, like with brimstone and Mom's knife, where you will fire a barrage of knives, no lasers to be seen. Dr. Fetus even works with every bomb upgrade, so with some luck, you can tear your enemies asunder with bombs that do things like poison, split into smaller bombs, or even home in on your targets. With this many possibilities, it's honestly really interesting to see what unique combo you'll grab at the end. At the same time though, this can feel like a bit too much stuff. With this many items, you're almost never going to find your favorites, let alone make them shine. That's not even mentioning the 34 playable characters. Small spoilers though, half of those are actually tainted variations of the 17 main characters, putting twists on their usual gimmicks. Speaking of, how did they change the game? Much like Risk of Rain 2's review, I cannot discuss every character here, but let's look at some of the more interesting ones. Isaac is honestly an extremely solid character, especially when you unlock the D6, which is an active item that re-rolls items. He actually starts his runs with it after you unlock it, making him probably one of the most consistent characters in the game, as you have a higher chance of getting good stuff due to having re-rolls at your disposal. Even before this, he has an extremely balanced stat spread, and even starts with a bomb, which can be a big help as you can unlock secret rooms. Or you can use this to destroy a marked rock to get an early soul heart, gold chest, or even a good damage increasing item. Next up we have Lilith, who is one of my personal favorite characters. Her gimmick is that she relies solely on followers for damage. She even starts with a follower which mimics what your tiers would be, so half of the items in the game don't just become worthless. And she also starts with a box to duplicate all of your followers. This summoner playstyle is always a favorite of mine, especially in games like Terraria and another roguelike called Loop Hero. Now for the Tainted side, Tainted Cain is probably my favorite. His gimmick is that you can't pick up items from pedestals. Instead, they will just become random consumables. These consumables can then be collected into your bag of crafting to create your items. Each item also has its own crafting recipe, so you can memorize key recipes for busted items. The thing I like most about this is actually that the recipes are set. It allows you to use past experiences and game knowledge to improve your future runs. It definitely takes a lot longer for runs though, due to this effect, since you'll likely want to clear a floor first, so you can see what consumables you'll have to craft with. Finally, I'd like to talk about likely the most infamous character in the game. Tainted Jacob. Oh boy, Tainted Jacob. This character's base version is you playing as two characters, Jacob and Esau, at once. So how did they change up this mechanic? Well, first, where is Tainted Esau? I mean, I only mentioned Jacob. Oh, there he is! Oh, and he wants to eat my soul. Lovely. Yep, Esau will spawn after a little while, and he will follow you relentlessly. And if he ever manages to touch you, he will turn you into essentially the Lost, which is another interesting character in the game, whose gimmick is you will always die in one hit, unless you have a Holy Mantle's shield effect, as you can't have any form of health. Esau is so relentless in this pursuit, he will also end up damaging any enemies he comes in contact with, so he can actually be helpful for clearing rooms. He was a lot worse on release, but now he's at least reasonable to deal with. He used to be killable, which at first sounds great, but if he died, he still would turn you into the Lost, which didn't feel very good. Especially when you would watch him mindlessly walk into a trap, die, and turn you into the Lost. How fun. Phew, man, that's a lot of stuff in the game. But what about that story? Well, it definitely is a sad one. Pretty much no matter what you do, Isaac is always doomed to die. None of the endings are happy. The game's supposed to take place in Isaac's imagination, where he's playing games before he passes away, where he pretends to be all these different characters, even dead versions of himself, fighting these monsters. Sometimes those monsters even being himself. This story is not for everyone, for sure, and is definitely a little bit more dark than I would typically look for as well. While I personally typically care more for the gameplay of a roguelike than the story, I do still feel that the story is an important part of the experience. So while I still enjoyed it, heck, it was the start of my journey in this genre after all, I still definitely prefer more action-style games from this genre, like Risk of Rain 2 and Dead Cells. But that doesn't mean it being a slower, more simpler game is all that bad, as it can really help you get into this genre. Many even prefer the slower paced. I mean, hell, deck builders are a huge part of the genre, and those are much more about the strategy aspect. And clearly Isaac is a solid game. Not many games can boast that they've been updated consistently with new content for years, let alone over a decade. As such, I'm going to give the game a 7.5 out of 10. While it's not my perfect roguelike, it was the one that sparked my journey, and for that, I shall forever be grateful. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video or have any recommendations, let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, if you could like the video and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you fellow rogues in the next review. See ya.